You just started investing and you're doing research on stocks, and it seems like everybody wants your money, whether that's stock websites, financial advisors, even JMoney456 on Telegram knows what you should be investing in. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like committing even more money to something when I'm trying to find as much money as possible to invest. So here are 5 totally free tools that I use to evaluate stocks that'll make you a better investor too. Number 1, FinSheet.io. FinSheet.io is an add-in that you can use with Google Sheets or even Microsoft Excel to get more finance functions into your spreadsheets. It's kind of like Google Finance, but on steroids. They have a totally free plan, which is what I'm actually using, as well as paid plans if you want more data or more calls per minute or that type of thing. Here's the breakdown. So if we look at the free plan compared to the others, you can see that it comes with quite a bit already, especially if what you want to look at is US stocks. You get a 500 a day function call limit, as well as historical data for up to 3 years. Now it is end of day data, not intraday, but still, if you're just evaluating stocks, that's not a big deal at all. So I'm actually using it with Google Sheets, and it's pretty easy to get started. You create a free account on the FinSheet.io website, and you basically log into it as an extension in Google Sheets, and all of a sudden the functions are available to you. I created a stock evaluation spreadsheet, and I'm using FinSheet.io functions pretty much throughout the whole thing. And as you can see, even things as basic as industry and sector, as well as more complicated calculations like payout ratio. And it really is a great complement to Google Finance because it gets down to things that I want to be able to see that are a little more detailed than just what Google Finance provides, especially things related to dividends and free cash flow. In terms of the function call limit, it hasn't really been a problem for me. If you create a huge spreadsheet of hundreds of stocks all at once that are all making calls at the same time, then you're probably going to hit that limit pretty quickly. But what I've done is just pare back my calls and just evaluate each stock individually whenever I want to dig deeper into it. But if you do want to be a power user of the service, just going from the free plan to the $20 a month plan will get you from 500 function calls a day to 500 function calls a minute, which is a pretty drastic change. But at least at this point, the free plan works great, and I literally use this tool every time I evaluate a stock because it's built into my evaluation spreadsheet already. Number 2, Seeking Alpha. So Seeking Alpha is a site that I never used to use, but I found myself ending up there all the time whenever I would do searches. And I finally just started looking around like, wow, there's a ton of data here. You can look at financials for the last 5 years in a very readable format, including nice little graphs here that you can pop up and look at. And they have data with multiple tabs for earnings, dividend, valuations, momentum, peers, everything. And being that I focus a lot on dividend paying stocks, that was one of the things that really brought me into Seeking Alpha to begin with. Being able to easily see a stock's dividend growth over the past 10, 5, and 3 years, as well as payout ratios and other metrics around dividends that just aren't easy to find in other places. And I don't really know what it is about Seeking Alpha, but the way that they've organized the data just happens to work really well with my brain. I go to other websites, and even though all the data is there, it's just really hard for me to see, or it's hard for me to navigate around. Plus, they have a really great mobile app that I'm using pretty much every day, and all the same information is available there as well. So Seeking Alpha has a free plan that has all these things that I'm showing you, data up to 5 years, and the only thing that you really don't get is an additional 5 years of data, as well as the ratings that they have for their site. So the way that I research stocks, the ratings don't really bother me because I don't really use them. At the end of the day, I have my own method that I'm using, but the extra 5 years of data that you get with premium is something that's interesting to me. I actually started using Seeking Alpha so much that I got a free trial for premium just to check it out. And I have a whole video coming next week to talk through the details of what I thought in my free trial and whether or not I'm gonna go ahead and continue with a premium subscription. But you don't really need premium to be able to use Seeking Alpha the way that I was to research stocks. All the data's there, the mobile app is still there even without premium, and it works really great. And just a little extra tip, if you don't really like Seeking Alpha but you're looking at dividend stocks, I was using dividend.com quite a bit beforehand, and it works pretty well. It's easy to see critical dividend information like payout ratio, years of dividend increases, and all that right from the site. Actually, one of the things I like about dividend.com, for some reason, it's the place that I think is easiest to see if a company pays a qualified or an ordinary dividend. You literally just scroll down to their most recent dividends, and it tells you right there if it's qualified or not. At least for me, I have been using Seeking Alpha to get most of this information now, but if you need an alternative, dividend.com is there, and it works great for what it is. Number 3, Morningstar. Now, Morningstar is a site that I've already done a whole video on. I talked about how I didn't renew my premium subscription from there, and I'll link that video right here. But Morningstar is still a great resource to be able to research financial data for your stocks. Even though there's quite a bit that's locked down if you don't have a premium subscription, you can still get to all the key financial data, and that's really what you would use Morningstar for with the free plan. And Morningstar does a good job of organizing the financial data, so it's easy to get to things like free cash flow and even enterprise valuation. And one of the nice things about Morningstar, even with the free plan, is that you can get the high level data, but if you really want to dig into all the details, they're all right there as well. So before we talk about the last two free tools, quick bonus tip, you may not know this, but your brokerage account a lot of times gives you access to these research sites for free. Now, I've talked about Schwab as being one of my brokerages in the past, so Schwab actually gives you access to the Morningstar stock analysis reports, Thomson Reuters, Argus, Market Edge, Vickers, CFRA, as well as their own Schwab equity report. I mean, that's a lot. And JP Morgan gives you access to their own analyst reports, which in my opinion are pretty good, as well as CFRA. And Vanguard gives you access to Argus, as well as Market Grader. So not only can you use all the free sites that we talk about in this video, but depending on your brokerage, you probably have access to some paid for sites for free. Pretty sweet. All right, let's get back to it. Number 4, Macrotrends. So Macrotrends is a website where you can see historical data for stocks, but over time. So you can see how they're trending and how the stock reacts whenever certain things happen. Now, the site is completely free, and as far as I can tell, they don't have a paid service. Now, they are ad supported, and as far as I've noticed, there's been an increase in ads that have popped up on the site, especially ones that like take over the screen, so that's a little annoying. But the data they provide is amazing, and it is free, so I'm not complaining. And one of the primary things that I use it for is to see the shares outstanding trend that's happening with the stock. Another thing I like to do with Macrotrends is look at how the stock has performed at previous levels of certain measures. Let me give you an example. If I look at the price to free cash flow ratio for Walmart, it just gives me an idea of how Walmart has performed over time. Because every stock is going to be different, right? So a stock that might have a price to cash flow ratio of 20 might be really expensive in some industries or with some companies, or for other companies in other industries, a price to cash flow ratio of 20 may be about the best that you can expect. So if I look at the price to free cash flow ratio for Walmart, right now it's about 21, and if I look historically, it's usually under 20, under 15, it even gets under 10. So to me, that says from a free cash flow perspective that Walmart isn't really undervalued at this point. Now again, it's just one data point, but you can do this with just about any of the measures that they have on Macrotrends, which is quite a bit. So if you want to look at margins and you want to see how they've changed over time, you can do that as well. So it's a nice tool if there's certain measures and metrics that you use to value stocks and you want to see how a stock has performed or how it's changed over a period of time with those metrics. It's extremely useful for that. And last but not least, number 5, DQYDJ. So DQYDJ.com stands for Don't Quit Your Day Job, and it's a financial website that has a ton of different informations, that's not a word, has a ton of different information, calculators, and other tools that you can use to look at past performance of stocks. Now, I primarily use it to look at past performance of individual stocks, but you can also look at past performances of stock indices, as well as commodities and crypto and a bunch of other stuff. Everything on the site is free, and like Macrotrends, it doesn't look like they have a paid service, so everything is just ad supported. And what I primarily use it for is the stock total return and dividend reinvestment calculator. That's so I can get an idea of what the total return is for a stock over a period of time. And then I can compare it to other stocks or compare it to the S&P 500, whatever I want to do. But I can literally type in my ticker. We'll use the $10,000 as a starting amount, and I can pick pretty much any day in the past that I want to compare. And it'll tell me the final value as well as my average annual return, which is really nice. And the website has a bunch of other information around like households, average net worth, and just a whole bunch of things around financial data and statistics that you can dig into. For me, I'm primarily using it to see past performance of stocks so I can compare it to other stocks, but there's a ton there, and it's all free. So even though everywhere you go, it seems, people want you to sign up for their own stock information website, with these 5 free tools, you can get a lot of the way there, and they're 100% completely free. Now, if you guys want to see how I use these websites to evaluate stocks, click on this video right here where I walk through a step-by-step process of how I came to the conclusion to buy Valero. Hope you guys have a great day out there. Financial independence is true freedom, so keep building and stacking those wins, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.